Hey everybody, today we're reviewing this $1,400 movie statue. That's right, this is Tom Hardy in one of the quintessential comic characters. Here's a clip from the movie.
I'm putting my hands up.
You are making us look bad.
No, I am not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Why would you do that?
I'm so sorry about your friends.
So here's the real question. How many of you knew that that was the same actor as this? Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. Really excited to have this piece in front of me because it's not only a piece that I bought a long time ago, then canceled, then jumped on the wait list to rebuy it, but it is finally here. Now, I have some significant issues with this piece, but I also love it. I think it's actually one of Prime One Studios, that's the name of the company who made this, one of their best DC pieces ever, especially if you look at one of their best DC movie pieces. So this is obviously of Tom Hardy, who portrayed Bane, the third movie in the Christian Bale trilogy of Batman. And this is still my favorite Batman series to date. Even though I love the original Keaton, I like Ben Affleck as Batman, but this series to me was just fantastic. Now, The Dark Knight, the last movie that he was portrayed in, was probably my least favorite of the three. However, I still very much enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed him in the villain role. I think he did a great job taking a comic book character like Bane and putting him into a real-life version. It always blows my mind that it was Tom Hardy. Maybe because he was so bulked out, maybe because we never fully saw his face, maybe because his voice was altered. But he did a fantastic job playing Bane. That was definitely my favorite part of that movie. So here he is. I got him because I have a number of Prime One Studios DC statues. Now the majority of them, about 20 or so, are actually comic based. But I do have about 7 or 8 that I either own now or I have coming that are movie based. So he'll kind of go on that part of the room for the collection. If you want to see what he looks like in the collection, go ahead and check out the Extreme Channel Instagram, Facebook page, and now TikTok. The link for the description of those is in the, the description for the link of those is in the, just look below. That's where it says it. But today we're going to do an in-depth review on this. This is the ultimate piece, as you can see. There's 2 different torsos. You have a separate torso display. And that's kind of what pisses me off here, because I didn't want the ultimate version. And I think there's some significant issues with this, despite the fact on how amazingly it was done. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who Bane is, and you're just here to see me, thank you. But Bane is a DC villain, generally a villain of Batman, that has superhuman strength that is generally supplied by some type of mask or separate tank on the back. Depending on which version of Bane you get, like in the movie here, he was kind of a master strategist as well. Also, a little bit of a psychopath, which I can relate. But let's dive into the extreme review, and we're going to start with concept of this piece. Now, while the concept slightly changes depending on which torso you have displayed, they still show the quintessential Bane poses. So let's talk about that. Now, first, they have a museum-style sub-base. You guys know I hate these. I think it's worthless. I think they should have just started with the stairs. The stairs, however, are from an iconic part of the movie. I believe this is in front of City Hall. In this particular movie, a lot of things went down there. And this has 2 companion pieces, a Batman and a Catwoman, that have similar bases, which is kind of cool. There's a Batman symbol on the bottom front. There's a Batman symbol on the back. And Bane is standing on either the second or top step, depending on how you want to look at it. And his clothes are incredibly movie accurate. This is kind of what he wore throughout the whole movie. They probably got dirty and smelly. I'm surprised he didn't launder them more often. Or maybe he just had 30 of the same suit. But as you move up, it's what we call a museum pose. So kind of standing there posing for a picture. His torso has almost like body armor. I don't know if it's bulletproof or not, but definitely body armor. And he is fully bulked out. And in this particular pose, like I said, it's one of the quintessential ones from the movie. So is the other option where he's saying, "Come and get me," which kind of embodied Bane. So what was really cool about him is he led by example. He would fight Batman himself. He was definitely one of those guys that could back up any of the comments he said. And I think this is just a great movie representation. I think it's extremely accurate. I think the likeness is spot on this piece. Concept is great. I don't know what I would have liked to see different. So honestly, I think it's great they did the quintessential poses. Some design stuff I'm not a fan of. Like I said, we're going to talk about that. But I think the concept's a 5 out of 5 for sure on this piece. Now let's talk about the design. Now thankfully in the unboxing and assembly, since you know there's 3 pieces to this and 2 pieces to that, Prime One Studios included instructions because I gotta tell you, it was pretty complicated. 2 large boxes obviously because of the different or the ultimate pieces. And here's one of the art boxes. I was too lazy to show the other one, but it looked very similar. Standard custom foam. So the Ultimate had just the torso stand and the torso. Now this was very light, which was kind of crazy to me because the other box right here was 4 times as heavy and the base wasn't that heavy. I'm still kind of confused why it was so much heavier. Thank God for those instructions, right? So obviously, let's look at the different display options. You saw some of them on the turntable, but you can interchange the torso. So the heads are permanently attached, which means there's no seam line. But here's kind of the difference. So just some full shots. Here he is on the stairs with the torso of his arms holding his chest. I thought this was going to be the one to display, but see if you can see what I see, that I really don't dig it. And then here is the picture with his arms outspread, the ones we've been looking at. Then here's the arms outspread on the torso display. And again, I see a big issue here we're going to talk about. And then here's the other one on the torso display. So there's pretty much 3 ways you can buy this. First, you can actually buy a separate torso. This guy right here, and then he has his own display as well. Or you can buy it like this. This is the regular version. And this is the one I don't like. Again, we're going to talk about it in a second. Or the Ultimate, which has all of this. Now, if you really wanted to go all out, you could buy the extra display with his arms down that I showed you. Now, here's the issue with this. To me, on the stairs, when we had this particular bust on it, there's so much wasted space, it kind of looks stupid. Here's a picture of it again. I am not a fan of this at all, which is unfortunate because I really like both torsos, but I don't think it can be effectively displayed here because then there's just all this dead, boring space, and it looks really wonky. Yeah, I said wonky. What also looks wonky is when you have this torso on the bust display. Here's a picture of that again. For the opposite reasons, the torso kind of takes up too much room too close to the ground. So obviously, I want to display it like this. I love that torso, but I would never put it back on here, and I don't really have a need for it. However, to get this, I had to buy the whole Ultimate version. That is the issue I have. Now, a small other issue I had is actually I have a nick on the back of his wrist gauntlet, or whatever you want to call this right here. You can see it. Not a big deal. I got this from Sideshow, so I don't know if I'm going to contact them or not. It's so minor, it's not a big deal, and I know there's not replacements. I'm not one of those people that demand a full refund and want to keep the statue. But lastly, let's get the dimensions here. So, big base. It is 16 inches. Let's look at his arm. His arms go out about 27 inches or so. The tallest point, he is a damn tall statue. is a little over 31 inches, it looks like. And then the deepest point is 17. Now, they should have eliminated this step, in my opinion. This front step, they could have eliminated it, saved a lot of room. And then this wouldn't look wonky. It wouldn't take up as much display space. So on the design, honestly, I think it's stretching it, but I think I'm giving it a higher score because the rest of it's so good. It's 3 out of 5 at best on the design for those reasons. However, paint and sculpt, they killed it. They absolutely knocked it out of the park. I haven't done the video yet, so we're going to look at it right now, but it's probably going to be a 5 out of 5. Let's see if it is. So first I want to look at the extra torso display, and we're not even going to look at this torso because in essence, other than the arms being stretched out, it's almost identical other than him holding his straps out right here. But the vest, the muscle work, the portrait are all pretty much identical from what I can tell. So this base right down here, so it has this rocky aspect to it. You almost see some rebar post-tension cables in there. They have a cracked bat symbol in the front, which is kind of cool. Although he is a bat villain, I mean, I wouldn't want him to put the name of the movie. I think they did a nice job on the shading. This I actually like better than the base, but I think it's a cool addition that they added. I like how it matches the base. Now here on the base, as I said, the black museum sub base right here looks fine. It's a matte black. Then they have these weird metallic almost guards. Not sure the purpose of those. Maybe it was too boring, and like I said, maybe you should have just eliminated that black base. Now the base itself, like I said, probably the weakest part of the statue, although it's not bad. First let's look at the snow. Not impressed by the snow at all, which I've seen some amazing snow from Prime 1 Studios, like on their Mr. Freeze statue I have. So that's a little disappointing. It looks a little yellow already. So maybe, you know, Bane had an accident, but it just doesn't have enough crystallization and texture. It almost looks like a blob down there. However, I do like how the bat symbol is cracked and the ground is cracked itself. It's just too much space. So with that, you find too many flaws and it doesn't look fantastic. As with most of their DC pieces or Batman pieces, they have a bat symbol on the back. And this is just like his Batarang, so I think that's pretty cool. But I like how cracked it is because Bane did bring a lot of destruction with him. Now, as far as Bane himself, his clothing is immaculate. It's fully sculpted. There is a little bit of move to the straps, but not much. But look at the detail on these. They look like real shoes, real pants. I love the folds in them. I love the straps. The buckles, this looks real. This is fantastically done by Prime 1 Studios. I like the shading in it, these army fatigues. The zipper right there, really, really impressive. He has his knee pads, which I'm surprised Bane would need. I love everything about this. Check out his pockets, the stitching on it, the creases. And then you get to his vest and a lot of the same things. So like I said, this is some type of body armor, but you can see these straps. And what I like is it's not old and worn, but there's a little bit of wear to it. So it's not brand new either. So it definitely looks like clothes he's been wearing for a while. And it looks real. Look at the straps on these. Or even it almost looks like some type of cushiony body armor. You can see right there, fully sculpted. Just wow. I'm really wowing over every part of this statue. The ropes holding his girdle together there. And I like the variation of colors. You know, granted, they're just doing it based off the movie, but it doesn't make it too boring. And I like how his shirt right there is being puffed out because the straps are so tight. Now what's equally impressive is his skin. So this looks great. Not only the musculature and the anatomy that they've done, but I love the paint and the highlights of the blue veins. Amazing. And you saw that on the other one. Like I said, the arms are different, but you still see veinage, which isn't a word, but really awesome. Check out his hands. So there's that little scuff. These are the gauntlets we were talking about. Looks great again. Looks like real leather with the straps. His fingernails. Oh, that might be another little, yeah, another little mark, no big deal. He must be getting manicures while he rules Gotham there. But just a overall amazing job. And we haven't got to the portrait yet. I love the portrait. So I love his mask. Like I said, extremely movie accurate, I believe. I never really looked at it that close, but I love like the inner workings and devices on it. And what's interesting on this is you actually see kind of the cartoon, not cartoon, excuse me, the comic version of Bane. You know, it was initially attached to his spine. I love how that's poking out up there. But look at all the detail on this. A little bit of texture there, some metallic parts, some which you assume are a little bit softer parts. And then his head, he's got either these scars or whatever that is right there. I never noticed that during the movie. But it almost looks like there might be follicles too. No hair coming out, but awesome. And then his eyebrows, fully sculpted. Even the eyelashes below and the eyes, a little bit cross-eyed, but I can get past that. Just paint and sculpt, very impressed, amazing overall. So as expected, it is a 5 out of 5. And that's not just for the paint, but the sculpt as well. It is just phenomenal as we looked at it close. The base could have been a little bit better, and I think the size of the base shows more of the flaws. And the base is still very good, don't get me wrong. Now let's talk about value on this piece. So it retailed for $1,400, plus like another $160 for shipping, then from Sideshow, so it was taxed. So it was like $1,600, $1,700 all in. That's a lot. I remember when 1/3 pieces were $8.99 or so. Now granted, I get the extra torso, but remember, I didn't need this part. I didn't want this part. I'm kind of stuck with this part. I can try and sell it, of course, but it'll be very difficult because as you saw in the packaging, this piece is actually packaged with this stuff, and this piece was packaged with that. So I don't like the value on the Ultimate version. At least for me specifically, it's very, very poor. However, I do acknowledge a lot of people love both of these. They want both of these. Maybe they even went out and got the third one. You do get what you pay for. You have to acknowledge that. Prime One Studios quality is absolutely top notch. Now this Ultimate version, they only made 350, and I want to say they only made like 150 or 200 of these. So all in all, you're less than 500. That's a fantastic deal, especially with so many pieces of like Heath Ledger Joker and other characters from that trilogy being made. So I think that really, really helps the value, and I think these are hard to find right now. I was ecstatic when my waitlist converted. I didn't even hesitate for a second. So I think for the normal collector, I'd say the value is a 4 out of 5. While for me, like I said, it's kind of a 3 out of 5 because I only wanted this and I had to pay an extra $400 or $500. Now, does this have the X factor? Is this a 5 out of 5 statue? You know, at the beginning I said this is really impressive. I think it's one of my new favorite DC pieces from Prime One Studios. So yes, I think this does have the X factor. It's 5 out of 5. It really draws your attention, the likeness, the perfection on the paint, sculpt, and I love the character, so that really helps the rating as well, because how much you like the character does affect how much you like the statue. That's why I just spit all over him. Did you see that? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I overrating this statue? Do you think it's a 5 out of 5? Did you like this character? Also, do me a favor, hit a like on the way out. Check out some of these other videos. I don't know why I always stumble like that at the end. And remember to punch me below so you can subscribe, hit that bell notification. Talk to you soon. Take care.